You know that feeling when a piece of software just completely frustrates you? A button that doesn't make sense, a screen that takes forever to load. We've all been there. Now just imagine that same frustration, but in a busy doctor's office where every single second counts. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the software used in one clinic to find out if it's a helpful tool or just another hidden source of stress. So let's step inside a community health center in Indonesia, known as a Puskesmas. It's a vital hub for local healthcare. And in here, doctors and nurses depend on a specific piece of software for pretty much everything they do. The big question is, does this digital tool actually make their incredibly demanding jobs any easier? Or does it just add another layer of complexity?
All right, so the system we're talking about is called SIMPUS. It's short for Puskesmas Management Information System. And its goal was, pretty ambitious, to handle everything from patient records to clinic resources, all to make healthcare run a whole lot smoother. The whole idea, the big promise, was to help these dedicated healthcare professionals be more effective and more efficient. But was it actually working? To get a real answer, a research team decided to go in and do a deep dive to see if there were any hidden problems. Now, to really evaluate a piece of software like this, you have to focus on one crucial concept. It's not just about whether the software works on a technical level, it's about how well it works for the people who have to use it every day. That concept is called usability, and it's the key to this whole investigation.
So what is usability really? Well, put simply, it just means a tool is effective, efficient, and, satisfying to use. Because if a system is confusing or just plain frustrating, it has low usability, and it doesn't really matter how many fancy features it has. The researchers used a method called Heuristic Evaluation. I know, it sounds super technical, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. Think of it like a building inspection for a house. An inspector has a checklist of building codes to find any potential problems, right? Well, usability experts do the same thing, but with a checklist of design principles to find potential problems in software. It's a really smart, systematic way to spot issues.
So for this inspection, they focused on 5 key areas. 1, how easy is the system to learn for a new user? 2, once you've learned it, is it easy to remember how to use? 3, does it help you get your daily tasks done quickly? 4, how does it handle errors? Does it help you fix them or just confuse you more? And finally, 5, at the end of the day, are people actually satisfied with it? Okay, so with that framework in place, the real investigation could begin. The mission was to gather all the clues and evidence they could, not from a lab, but from the real world, from the people who knew this software inside and out. And this is so important. This wasn't just some theoretical exercise. The researchers worked directly with 23 healthcare workers at the Depok I clinic in Sleman, Java. We're talking about the nurses, the administrators, the doctors on the front lines, the people using the SIMPUS system every single day to take care of their community. And their process was incredibly thorough. They didn't just jump in. First, they studied all the existing research. Then they analyzed what the users actually needed the system to do. After that, they collected the data with detailed questionnaires, processed all of it, and finally analyzed the results to pinpoint the biggest problem areas. It was a really solid process. So after all that rigorous work, what did they actually find? It was time to give the system its official report card. The verdict was in. This is the moment of truth. Let's see how SIMPUS actually performed across those 5 pillars of usability. And the results were a bit of a mixed bag. On the one hand, the system scored good for memorability and for user satisfaction, which is great news. But take a closer look. Learnability, efficiency, and how it handled errors were all rated as just adequate. And in a high-stakes environment like a clinic, adequate might not be good enough. So, what does adequate actually translate to? Well, when the researchers dug in, they identified 15 distinct usability problems inside the system. 15. That's 15 little points of friction that users have to deal with every day while just trying to do their jobs. Now, of course, not all problems are created equal. As you can see here, 9 of those issues were low priority, small annoyances. But 6 of them, 6, were rated as medium priority. And those are the more significant issues, the ones that can really mess up a workflow and cause some real frustration. Finding all these problems is really only half the battle. The true value of an investigation like this is that it gives you a clear path forward, a roadmap to actually make things better. And the big takeaway from this research was crystal clear.
Those 6 medium priority issues aren't just suggestions for a future update. The conclusion was that they require immediate action to improve the system for the people who depend on it every single day. And this quote just gets right to the heart of it all. Improving software in a clinic isn't just some techie exercise. It's not about clicks and menus. Every confusing screen or inefficient step that gets fixed is time, precious time, that gets handed back to nurses and doctors. Time they can spend focusing on what actually matters, patient care. You know, this deep dive into one clinic's software really opens up a much bigger, more important question for all of us. As technology becomes more and more a part of every critical piece of our lives, how can we make sure that it's truly empowering the people it's designed to help, instead of just getting in their way?